I know everyone is anxious to get back to their daily routines and dive back into all the things that they love doing. So much so that we've even got some extra media here today. So I want to thank you for coming and covering our Back to Normal plan. But before we get to that, I want to remind everybody that some people will never be able to return to normal. I think all of us remember a time in our lives when we lost somebody and everything changed. You all know that I lost my dad at a very young age, and that experience greatly changed the path that I'm on. The infection and the spread of COVID-19 and the pandemic has greatly changed the path that many other people have been on in the state of South Dakota as well. We all knew that this virus would be deadly no matter what we did, and it stole husbands and wives, grandparents, friends, and those families and those loved ones will never be the same. These people, my heart breaks for them, and I will continue to lift them up in our families' prayers. What has been stolen from so many people during this pandemic, though, is time. For weeks, the most vulnerable population, our moms and dads, our grandpas and grandmas, those who had pre-existing health care conditions, they've been isolated. They've been separated from their friends and people that they love. Then there's also the students. The vast majority of our students across the state of South Dakota have been served by teachers and administrators and schools that have done an absolutely fantastic job. But we also know that there are kids that we've totally lost contact with. We haven't heard from them, and their schools and their teachers miss them. My point is that in addition to the health costs that we've seen across our state, we're also going to see significant social costs of this virus, and it is historic in the very worst way. Now, I've stood before the people of this state many times. I pledged that the science and the facts and the data would drive my decision making as I worked for you. I also noted that my role as it relates to public safety is something that I take very seriously, but that ultimately it is the people themselves that are primarily responsible for their safety. They are the ones who are entrusted with expansive freedoms. They are free to exercise their rights to work, worship, and to play, or to stay at home and to conduct social distancing. Now, since the middle of February, I've been very clear with the people of this state that they need to take their responsibility for personal health and for safety seriously, that they should be practicing good public hygiene, that they should do social distancing, and overall, the people of South Dakota have done a tremendous job. Now, we saw our first case in South Dakota on March 10th, and our initial projections on that date showed that our hospitalization capacity was going to be unmanageable, that we wouldn't be able to take care of everybody. We took specific, targeted steps to alter our path. We pushed our peak off into the future, and we cut it by more than 75%. And today, our hospital capacity greatly exceeds our needs that we will have. We have to remember that our objective from day one was not to stop the spread of COVID-19. The science tells us that it's just not possible. What we set out to do was to slow the spread and to flatten the curve. And so many people and our healthcare systems worked with us to make sure that the hospitals and the clinics that take care of people in South Dakota were not going to be overwhelmed. As governor, I did not dictate to the people of South Dakota. I didn't tell you what activities you could do, which ones were officially approved of or not approved of. I didn't begin arresting or ticketing or fining individuals for exercising their rights, nor am I going to do that today. I will, however, continue to lead, and I will help South Dakotans navigate a path forward in this uniquely difficult and challenging time. In South Dakota, in an unprecedented situation like we find ourselves in today, it publicly reveals the principles that we hold so dear. It is our people that makes us great. It is not our government. Many of you probably haven't noticed something when you walk into this room, but the door handle when you open this room has written on it our state motto. Our state motto is, "Under God, the people rule." That is what our system of government is all about. The people of South Dakota are the source of the power and the legitimacy of our government, not the media, not the politicians, not political parties. That's a healthy perspective for an elected official to keep in mind. So with today's plan, I am not announcing any new government programs, more red tape, more prescriptive phases or tight controls or anything like that. That is not South Dakota. Rather, the plan I'm unveiling today puts the power of the decision-making into the hands of the people, where it belongs. Today's plan relies on South Dakotans to continue to exercise common sense, reasonableness, innovation, and a commitment to themselves, their families, and in turn, their communities. I invite everybody to read this plan online at covid.sd.gov. And again, I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions, so let's all start there by reading that plan and take it day by day, just like we have been since January. And I want to close by saying thank you to the people of South Dakota. We are not out of the woods yet, but like I've said many times, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. But it is because of your smart decision making that we're in the position that we're in today. So thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting my team. And I want to thank you for proving the wisdom of our founders by showing that people can and that they should be trusted to utilize their freedoms and liberties each and every day.